I still remember that night like a scar that never fades. Rain was pouring outside my small apartment window, tapping against the glass like the world itself was mocking me. I sat there, soaked in heartbreak, staring at the message she'd left on my phone. "You're a good man, Daniel. But love doesn't pay the bills." That was the night Rachel walked out of my life. No fight, no closure, just a suitcase, a smirk, and the click of the door. She left me for Ethan, a man who owned a chain of luxury restaurants in the city. A man with money, cars, and the kind of power I could only dream of. At first, I told myself she'd come back. That maybe once she saw what real love felt like, she'd realize her mistake. But weeks passed. Then months. I saw her on social media, new dresses, vacations in Greece, expensive champagne smiles. I was just a shadow in her past. It wasn't just heartbreak anymore. It was humiliation. Everyone around me knew. Friends stopped calling, coworkers whispered. I had become the guy whose girlfriend left him for a millionaire. But here's what nobody saw, what was happening behind closed doors. Every night, while the world slept, I was building something. A dream I had once shared with her, an idea we laughed about on late-night walks. She thought it was foolish. A food delivery startup. Small, but personal. Built on service, not status. I poured my pain into it. Every rejection fueled me. Every insult became gasoline for the fire burning inside me. And when I found out that Ethan's company was struggling, bleeding, money under its shiny surface, I didn't laugh. I just smiled. Because life has a strange way of circling back. That's when my story truly began. She thought she'd traded love for luxury. But soon, she'd realize luxury can fall faster than love ever does. They say success is the best revenge. But back then, success felt like a word made for other people. Not a man sitting alone in a cheap apartment, counting coins to pay rent. Still, every morning, I woke up before the sun. I worked my day job at a small logistics firm and spent my nights building. Taste Track, the app one once told Rachel about, the one she laughed at, saying, "No one needs another food app, Daniel." I didn't have investors. I didn't have mentors. What I had was pain. And pain can be the greatest motivator when your heart's been crushed. I learned coding from YouTube tutorials, designed my own logo on a borrowed laptop, and delivered the first few orders myself on a second-hand bike. People laughed, but I kept going. Slowly, local restaurants started noticing. My model wasn't about glamour, it was about care. I treated small diners and local kitchens like partners, not clients. And then, the moment came. A small food blog in Toronto featured Taste Track, calling it the underdog app bringing heart back to delivery. Within weeks, my phone didn't stop buzzing. My world was changing, fast. But even as I grew, I never forgot her. One night, while checking analytics, I saw a familiar name pop up on a restaurant order list. Rachel. She had ordered from one of the partner restaurants. The same woman who said I'd never make it. I stared at the screen, frozen. Part of me wanted to call her, to say look at me now. But I didn't. I just smiled. Because real revenge isn't about proving them wrong. It's about proving yourself right. And as fate would have it, Rachel's new husband, Ethan, had a problem. His restaurant chain, Urban Dine, was falling apart. He didn't know that the app taking all his customers was mine. He took my love. Now I was about to take his empire. It's strange how life balances the scales. One day, you're invisible, the next, you're the name everyone whispers. By the second year, Taste Track was everywhere. Our app had gone national, and we were eating away at the market share of the giants. Restaurants loved us. Customers trusted us. We didn't chase profit. We built loyalty. But Ethan, he was still running his empire the old way, expensive menus, flashy interiors, arrogant service. His company, Urban Dine, had once been the talk of the city. Now, customers were switching to small, heart-driven eateries partnered with us. I could almost taste the irony. One morning, my assistant walked in and said, "Sir, Urban Dine just filed for financial restructuring. They're losing millions." I didn't react. I just nodded. Because this was exactly the storm I had prepared for. Behind the scenes, I had been working quietly, connecting with investors, building relationships with suppliers, even buying small restaurant shares that once belonged to Ethan's chain. Slowly, piece by piece, I was dismantling his empire, without him even knowing who was behind it. Then came the moment that still gives me chills. At a business networking event in downtown Vancouver, I saw them, Ethan and Rachel, standing by the bar, laughing like they owned the world. Rachel noticed me first. Her smile froze midair. She looked at me, then at the name tag on my suit. Daniel Carter, CEO, Taste Track Technologies. Ethan turned around, smirked, and extended his hand. "Ah, the app guy. You're doing quite well, I hear." I smiled back, trying my best. He didn't realize yet that his best days were about to end. That night, I signed a deal with Harbor Group Investments, one of his biggest partners. The agreement was simple: they'd fund my expansion in exchange for majority rights to Urban Dine's assets, which they were quietly planning to buy. By the end of the week, I wasn't just his competitor. I was the man buying the ground beneath his feet. He stole my love to build his kingdom. Now, I was about to take his crown. A few months later, the deal was complete. With one signature, Urban Dine, Ethan's pride, Rachel's world of luxury, became a subsidiary of Taste Track Technologies. When the news hit the media, it went viral. Headlines read: Local startup acquires major restaurant chain. Taste Track CEO expands empire in historic takeover. Ethan's confidence grin disappeared from the business magazines overnight. And Rachel? Well, she went silent on social media. I didn't feel joy at first. I felt calm, like a storm that had finally settled. But destiny wasn't done with me yet. One morning, my secretary walked into my office and said, "Sir, there's someone here to see you. She says it's personal." I looked up, and there she was. Rachel. For a moment, time froze. Her designer bag, her expensive heels, her carefully painted smile, all looked heavy, forced. "Daniel," she said softly, "you look different." "I should," I replied. "Success tends to do that." She sat down across from me, trying to smile through the awkwardness. "I heard you acquired Urban Dine." I just wanted to say, "Congratulations." There was a pause. A long, quiet pause filled with years of unspoken words. Then she said something I didn't expect. "Ethan left. Things aren't going well. I made mistakes. I thought I was choosing stability, not arrogance. I didn't realize what I had until." I stopped her. Calmly. "Rachel, you made your choice. And it's okay. Because your leaving made me who I am today." Her eyes glistened. "Maybe we could grab coffee sometime, just to talk?" she asked, voice trembling. I smiled, not out of pride, but at peace. "Rachel," I said, "you taught me the value of losing everything. I'll always be grateful for that. But some doors aren't meant to reopen." She stood up slowly, tears in her eyes, and whispered, "You've changed." I looked her in the eye. "No, Rachel. I just grew." She walked away chasing gold. Now she'll watch as I build a legacy worth more than money. After Rachel left my office that day, I stood by the window for a long time. The city skyline glowed beneath me, towers, lights, motion. Everything I once dreamed of was finally real. But instead of pride, what I felt was clarity. Revenge wasn't about destroying someone else anymore. It was about building myself into someone who no longer needed validation. Months passed. Taste Track kept growing, expanding across borders, partnering with sustainable farms, employing thousands of people. My name was no longer whispered in pity. It was spoken with respect. Then one afternoon, I received an email from Urban Dine's former board members. They wanted to sell their remaining shares, meaning, if I agreed, I'd own the company outright. The same company Ethan built. The same empire Rachel once left me for. I clicked accept. It was poetic. I didn't gloat, didn't post about it. I simply visited one of the old Urban Dine restaurants, the one where Rachel and Ethan were first seen together years ago. It was quiet now. The tables were empty, the chandeliers dimmed. I stood there for a moment, remembering who I used to be, broke, heartbroken, mocked. Then I walked outside, took a deep breath, and smiled. A reporter later asked me in an interview, "Daniel, what's your secret? How did you turn failure into an empire?" I told her the truth. Pain is a strange teacher. It can destroy you, or it can rebuild you into something stronger. I chose the second. As the camera lights dimmed, I looked straight into the lens and added, "And if anyone out there is watching this, someone who's been betrayed, abandoned, or underestimated, remember. Don't chase revenge. Build something so powerful that your success becomes the only answer they'll ever need." That clip went viral across the internet. Millions watched it, shared it, and commented on things like, "This is the definition of real revenge." And somewhere out there, maybe Rachel saw it too. Maybe she finally realized that the richest man isn't the one with money. It's the one who turns heartbreak into purpose. And that's how life turned my pain into power. She left me for a rich man, but now, I own the life she once dreamed of. If this story touched your heart, or reminded you that no betrayal can stop your destiny, then hit that like button, share this video with someone who needs hope. And don't forget to subscribe to Grow Revenge for more true, powerful stories that prove success is the sweetest revenge.